it's raining, sometimes it's pouring, sometimes things don't happen the way we think they ought to. We're together, we stick together, no matter what we lost, we always have each other. Thankful through and through, yeah. God gave me you. The season changed and we built it back. It's better than before, the devil gets no slack. I praise God today for always making a way. Sometimes in life it's a test of faith, when something we love is taken away at the end of the day. Bow my head and pray. Sometimes it's raining, sometimes it's pouring, sometimes things don't happen the way we think they ought to. When we're together, we stick together, no matter what we lost, we always have each other. I'm thankful through and through, yeah. We stick together, we stick together, no matter what we lost, we always have each other. I'm thankful through and through, God gave me you. God gave me you. Next song I'm going to do is Here I Am to Worship. The light of the world, you step down into darkness. Open my eyes, let me see beauty that Here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether worthy, altogether lovely, altogether wonderful to me. I'll never know how much it costs to see my sin up on that cross. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. To see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. To see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as you sing, holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. We cry, holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. Holy, holy, holy. We cry, holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. I want to see you.
So, like I told you guys, I went back and forth with a bunch of different, started down one path on the message for today, and then went down another path, and ended up where I was late in the evening, like yesterday evening, and this morning. But one of the things that I felt like I needed to talk to everybody about is leadership. Leadership. And when you hear leadership, it's something that everybody wants, but a lot of us truly don't understand what leadership is. And today's society is destroyed on tearing down leadership. The leadership in the family, the leadership in our government, the leadership in our houses, the leadership at work. It's made to tear that down. The number one leadership comes from Jesus Christ, God. That's where our leadership comes from, right? But the word leader is defined as in the dictionary. This is not a Christian, but this is so leadership. A leader's role is to coach, guide, and inspire others to motivate through challenging times. That's what the dictionary definition of leadership is. A Christian leader is, let's see. I wrote it down here, I'm sorry. Okay, so Jesus exemplified leadership as being a servant. God was a servant to all he encountered and not just his family. So can you see the difference, the comparison in the two? Our dictionary says that leadership is a role to coach, guide, and inspire others to motivate through challenging times. But Jesus said to be a leader is to be a servant. There's a big difference. The one glorifies the position. People look up to leaders, right? Everybody wants to be a leader. And all of us are leaders in our own roles in life in one way or another. But we also have to understand that leadership comes with a certain amount of responsibility. And not just the responsibilities that we know. I know that I have to motivate others. Yesterday when we were doing the fireworks show, we got out there and there was another gentleman, and I forgot his name now. But we got there and he decided real quick that this was not going to be fun. He thought it was going to be lighting fireworks, shooting stuff off, making it go boom. And he actually done his fireworks show for his church. That's the reason he was there, because the church decided this may or may not be legal what we're doing, so we better get somebody with some license. So he come out there expecting almost probably the same thing we were, that hey, this is going to be somewhat fun. You know, we're gonna get to have some fun. Well, we got there and we figured out it wasn't just shooting fireworks. We had to wire this was a wire job, so we had to wire everything. We didn't get to decide what went off. It was already pre-programmed, so it took away all the creativity, it took away all the fun, and all it was a lot of work. And as you know, fireworks you can't shoot off under a tree, so we were right out in the beating sun. It was hot, it was muggy, we didn't have any tents, we didn't have any fans. The only thing we had was cold water that we could drink every once in a while. So we worked, and we worked about maybe 45 minutes in, and this guy said, I think I'm fixing to go home, you know. So at that point, I felt like it was my position and Glenn's position for us to get up and take it by the horn. So what we done was we got up, we went and got a cooler, we brought it out, we had drinks. We said, hey, you take all the breaks you need, but you shouldn't give up, you know, this, that. And then me and Glenn went out there and worked in the heat. I looked over at Glenn. Glenn was pouring sweat off his nose, his mustache and beard was just, dripping. Every 3 seconds there was a drop of sweat coming off. And then I looked down at me and it was the same thing, you know. Then next thing I know, the guy come out and he was working again. He done that, and the whole time, I don't think we went 5 minutes without him saying, I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna quit, you know. We got all the way to the end of it, and we're at midnight, and the guy says, if it wasn't for you fellas, I would have quit 6 hours ago, you know. And that right there shows you the power of leadership. It shows you that the things that you do affect the people that are around you. And leadership is not a position saved for men. That's what society tells you today, because they want to tear that position down. Leadership is what you do to build up the people around you. Being a leader is being a leader. It's not being a lord. You're not ruling over people. You're not tearing people down. You're not dictating what's going to happen and what's not. To be a leader is to take a team and build them up around you, and you push from the bottom up. And that's why you have to learn how to be a servant before you can be a leader. To be a leader is to be a builder. It's not to be a bully. We all know leaders that are bullies. You know, they get stuff done with an iron fist. And yes, you will get stuff done for a short amount of time. No matter what level it is. A lot of people in here work at businesses. Some of us own our own businesses. Some of us do those things. If I went up there to Miss Debbie right now, everybody knows Miss Debbie, everybody knows she does an excellent job. But if I went up there to her and I tore her down and I said, Miss Debbie, why'd you get Ray's chips and you didn't get Doritos? Or why'd you do this? Or why'd you do that? Or why'd you do this? If I tore her down and if you don't quit, I'm gonna fire you. If you don't this, I'm gonna fire you. If you don't, how long do you think she's gonna last? She's gonna do a good job because that's how she's wired. That's the fabric she's cut from. That's the type of person she is. And I'm gonna get something out of her for a short amount of time. But eventually she's gonna leave. She's gonna go find somebody who appreciates her, somebody who's trying to develop her, somebody who's trying to build her. Whereas if I go up there and I treat her as a servant, I say, Miss Deb, how can I help you? You know, let me understand what your day consists of, so that way I understand before I add a workload, before I take something away, or before I do this, or before I do that, you know. And that's what I should be. I should be a servant to her, so that way I can lead her to be better. Now, the other part of that, the part that I was led to speak on today is our leadership in our family unit. Jesus Christ says that the father is the leader of the family, okay? Now, I want to speak a little bit before that because I've always got a little bit of a negative connotation whenever I've heard that. You know what I mean? Whenever I hear but because of the way the generation before me was, I've heard a lot of men that I respect say that I'm the leader of the family. I've known men that say I eat before my kids and wife. I this, I that. You know, that is not being a leader. That is not the biblical leader that we're supposed to be as Christian men. Okay? And even as a leader, Eli, what was the position you wanted to play in football? Quarterback. That's all he's talked about for 2 years. He didn't even get to try out last year because he wouldn't keep his room clean and things like that. But this year he got to try out. He found out real quick that being the leader of the football team is not all fun and games. He went in, he said he wanted to be a quarterback. They said, okay, they give him a packet with how many plays, 37 some odd plays, 12 pages. And they said the very first thing, yeah, so the very first thing he had to do is he had to learn every one of the plays. And he said that, you know, they only have to learn the plays that they're doing. I got to learn them all, you know. And then he found out he's going to have to get up and practice. He had to spend his own hard money on 4 or 5 footballs and a target and all these things, you know. And you find out real quick that leadership comes with a huge amount of responsibility. But a man's role as a Christian leader at home consists of a number of different things. One thing is he's got to be a priest of his home. He has to be a priest of his home. And how do you do that? The very first thing you do is you bring your family to church. So it's our position as a man, as leader of the house, not as a man, I shouldn't have said that. As leader of the house, it's our position to bring our families to church. There's a study that shows that kids continue to go to church after they're grown 33% if the mother goes to church alone. 33%. So if you have 3 kids, one of the 3 kids will continue to go to church. If a father goes to church alone without the mother, 66%. So 2/3, okay? And again, we can take that as a negative connotation, saying, hey, listen, oh yeah, you're a guy, you think you're so great, you know, but this next number is the one we need to listen to. If the mother and the father both go to church, 93% of the kids, so if you have 100 kids, 93 of those 100 kids are going to continue to go to church after. And that's where we need to focus. We don't need to focus on what the man's role is. We don't need to focus on what Eli's position was as a quarterback, right? Because if Eli would have done everything right, if he'd have learned those plays, if he'd have got those plays, if he'd have got the star quarterback for Sykeston Bulldogs, and he'd done all those workouts, and he was the next Tom Brady, right? The NFL teams are already calling him, wanting him to come, and he's just the best quarterback in the world. If Eli goes in that field and it's only Eli against a whole other team, how many games is Eli going to win? He's not. He's not. It's not about the leader of that team. It's about how that leader interacts with the rest of their team. And without the rest of the team, he's worthless. Me as a dad, me as a leader, I could be the best dad, I could be the best leader in the world, but without my wife, I'm nothing. And God knew that. That's why God took one of our ribs and created the other half that we need, the yin to our yang. You know, He gave us what we needed, right? And no matter where you are in life, no matter where you're at in life, no matter if you have problems at home with your wife, no matter if you're in the middle of divorce, no matter if you're fighting, no matter where you're at, you have to understand that those two parts come with raising a family biblically. So the first thing you have to do is bring your kids and family to church. The second thing you have to do is bring the church to your family. Church don't stop on Sunday. You have to live out the Christian faith and be an example to your family on a daily basis. Now, are we going to slip and fall? Absolutely. None of us are perfect, and that's another thing that Christians are beat down for. I come in here, I believe in God. I carry that. I hope that the people that I'm around know that. I try to be a good servant. I try to be a good person, but I do make mistakes. And the thing about being a Christian is, once you make one mistake, people will tear you down. Oh, you're supposed to be a Christian person. Not very Christian of you, you know. And you got to be prepared for that. Because it will make you feel like a foreigner. It will make you feel like you're going the other way. It will make you feel like you're not doing the things that you're supposed to be doing. But guys, as with anything, if I decided today that I was going to be a marathon runner, and the first thing I did was go to the Olympics and show up with my slow butt running against Usain Bolt, I am going to look like a phony, you know. But I have to mature. I have to mature as a runner, just like I have to mature as a Christian. It makes me nervous to come up here and preach. It makes me nervous to come up here and give a sermon because I don't feel like I'm mature enough biblically. I don't know that Bible well enough to get up here and speak. But could you imagine throwing me in front of Joel Osteen's church or something like that? You know, I'm not at a maturity level to do that. Just the same way with running. You know, if I go to a local father's, you know, club where they're going to be running, and I become the fastest runner there, then I'll go to, you know, the Cape whatever and become the fastest runner there. Then I come to the Missouri fastest runner. Then, you know, you mature and you get to that point, right? But part of living out that faith is not to be perfect. You're not supposed to be the perfect Christian. You're just supposed to always head back towards that beacon. When you're a ship lost in a storm and a tide rolls you this way and turns you this way, you don't say, okay, well, it took me this way, so I'm just going to keep going this way. No, you realize I'm off track now, and you realign to get back to that line, right? And that's what we all have to do as Christians. And then you have to get rid of the noise. Guys, don't listen to people tearing you down, because the devil has been playing this game a long time. A lot longer than any of us have been around, a lot longer than any of the people we know have been around, and any of the people that they know. He's been doing it since the beginning of time, and he's really good at it. He's really good at it. So just keep your eye on the light and keep moving forward and try to live out that faith. And try to become better every day at living out that faith in front of the people that you love and that you care about. The next thing that we have to be as leaders of our family is protectors. We have to be protectors. By design, God made our bodies physically stronger, generally, than women. Now, with that strength comes a responsibility. This is not for us to physically force our wills on our family or the people around us. That's not what that's for. It's not what it's for. We aren't bullies. We're builders, like I said before. We should use that strength. We should use that physical ability to build up the things around us, to build up the people that are around us. We aren't rulers, we are leaders. We should lead the people that are around us. We don't use you don't go to the gym and work out and have big muscles and bulging this and bulging that to come and tell somebody what they're going to do because they're afraid of you physically. That is not the type of person you are. Or emotionally, that you can't do those things. Ephesians 5:25 says, there is no room for dominating, ruling, controlling, or suppressing a daughter of God in a godly marriage. Okay? That said, a daughter of God, not my daughter, daughter of God, my wife. So that comes directly from the Bible. There is no room for me dominating. There is no room for me ruling. There is no room for that. Right? As a servant leader, you serve your spouse and protect your family. So again, it goes back to being a servant. And that's going to be a recurring theme that you're going to hear through this is to be a servant. And we have to understand what a servant is. So we've talked about being a priest of our house as a man or as a leader. And you can use these in any leadership role that you have. But you're supposed to be a priest of your house. You're supposed to be a protector. We're also supposed to be laborers. In Genesis 2:15, it says, then the Lord God took man and put him in the garden to tend to it and keep it. He put man to work and ordained a 6-day work week. Now, that's something I don't like hearing, a 6-day work week. So we have typically a 5-day work week, right? But Jesus ordained a 6-day work week. God created us to create and make things. Jesus said himself, my Father is working and I am working. John 5:27 says, our God works and he created us to work. We are supposed to work. We are supposed to be the providers. We are supposed to be those things. And I know in today's day, there's so much of what we make that goes back to the government, that goes here, that goes there. Groceries are high and this and that. And that now it's hard for a family to make it off of one income. I still believe that part of that is an attack on the family unit. I believe it's by design that they want the mother out of the house to be away from the family. I believe that. Because just like I said before, the leader is important, but it's not no more important than the receiver and the quarterback, right? So we all play our roles. As a laborer, it says in Timothy 5:8, if anyone does not provide for his own, and especially for those in his household, he is denied the faith and is worse than a non-believer. Is worse than a non-believer. It's pretty plain there, right? God wants us to work. God wants us to provide. God wants us to do those things. So we've talked about being priests of our house, being protectors, and being laborers. And this next one is one a lot of us guys struggle with. And I wanted to say this too. God put this on my heart to preach this. And then I walked in this morning. We have 15 people in church. Of those 15 people, 5 of us are guys. 5 of us are guys. Of those 5 guys, 3 of us are men. You know, so God sent me in here to preach a sermon about men to mostly women. But too, the whole time, every time I'd lean more towards that, God would put it back on me to understand how important it was to have that support. God knew without a shadow of a doubt, we couldn't do it alone, guys. He knew we couldn't. That's why he created women. That's why he created women. In 1950, 1 in 50 men did not work between the ages of 25 and 54 in in 1950. How many of you think now don't work? About 1 in 9 men do not work in the United States between the ages 25 and 24. 1 in 9. That equates to over 7 million men in the United States right now that aren't working. These men are physically able to provide, but rely on government assistance and other programs to provide. Boys are provided for. Eli, you're a boy. Dad buys your underwear. Dad buys your clothes. Dad buys your football stuff. Mom buys your football stuff. Mom buys your clothes. Mom buys your underwear. Boys are provided for, typically by their mothers and fathers. But men, mature men, provide for themselves and for their families. And that goes the same whether it's your mother providing for you or if it's the government providing for you. And that is something that we have to instill in the guys and especially the young men that are around us. People my age and younger are getting to where they're worthless. They don't know how to start a lawnmower. They don't know how to provide. And it's something that we have to, as parents, not just men, as parents, we have to get our kids. We have to get our grandkids. Even the kids that we don't know, but we're a part of. I'm a coach at the wrestling club. I have to get with those kids and make them understand anything worth having is worth working for. And every blessing carries a burden. If I go get a brand new car today, it comes with a payment. Even if I pay for cash for that car and I don't have a payment, it comes with, I have to keep tires rotated, got to keep the oil changed, got to keep, every blessing comes with a burden. And that burden is going to carry a certain amount of labor. If you don't know how to be a laborer, you're never going to have anything. You're never going to be successful in life. And part of our job on earth is to be over the money that truly belongs to God, right? And to manage that money, and to do those things with it that is pleasing to God. So we talked about, again, being priests of our household, bringing our family to Christ and bringing Christ to our family. We've talked about being protectors of our family. We've talked about being laborers. And now the hardest one for us men to understand, to be a biblical husband, to be a Christian leader of the family, you have to be a lover, a learner, and a loyal companion. A lover, a learner, and a loyal companion. The definition of love out of the dictionary is an intense feeling of deep affection. An intense feeling of deep affection. The biblical definition of love is a selfless, sacrificial, and unconditional commitment to the well-being of others. Did you see the comparison in those two? What the world is telling us love is all about me. I have an intense feeling of affection for you. That's all about me. It's very, very, very selfish. So love to the common dictionary is how I feel about you. Love in the Bible starts out very, very first thing, a selfless, sacrificial, and unconditional commitment. For me to be committed to something, I have to be a servant of that. So again, we're going back to being a servant. A selfless, sacrificial, and unconditional commitment to the well-being of others. That's what love is in the Bible. John 15:13, and this is Jesus speaking. Jesus said, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." Again, the servant. It's what you can give up for the people that are around you. You must be loyal and you must be faithful to your wife and to your family to truly love. You must be loyal and you must be faithful. That 20% of men cheat in a relationship. 20% of men cheat in a relationship. And men are 54% more likely to cheat than women are. But guys, the grass is not always greener on this other side. I've heard it said before, grass is greener where you water it. Grass is greener where you work on it. And we have to understand the 80-20 principle, okay? The perfect wife, the perfect husband, your perfect spouse at most, can meet 80% of your needs that your spouse is supposed to meet, right? The perfect spouse can only meet 80% of your needs. The remaining 20%, that's where the devil likes to work, on the things that person can't give you. And they're never going to be able to give you. You're never going to meet a person and them be 100% perfect. The first thing that pops in your head is, I worked hard today, I hope my husband's going to give me a back rub. You know what I mean? You're going to come home, he's not going to know that you want a back rub. He's not going to understand that you want a back rub. So there's going to be things there, gaps that he misses. But what he is going to do is he is going to do the things that you need. He's going to be a provider, he's going to be a protector, he's going to be those things. And even for you to be that 80% of the perfect spouse, you have to work at it. It's not going to come easy. It's not going to come easy. If you don't communicate, that 80% drops dramatically. That 80% of you being a perfect spouse drops to the floor. And then all you're doing is giving the devil a bigger playground to dance around in your marriage. Communication is truly key. And I'm not saying this as somebody who's great at communicating. You can ask my wife. I'm probably the world's worst. But I have been getting better. Because I recognize that I had that need. I recognize that, and same with her. As long as you never stop, as long as you never give up, as long as you look for a way to make it work, you're going to work. There's times that I feel like, just like yesterday, I felt like the weight of the whole world was on my shoulders. I got to a point where I was seeing spots. I was having pain in my left arm. I thought I was going to have a stroke. I truly did. I had so much going on. My mom was messaging me from jail. She was having another episode. She was swearing up and down that the guard was being mean to her and throwing her in the hole, and that I needed to call this person and I needed to call that person. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't help her. It's my mom. I love her. Even though she's not 100% right now, I love her. Even though she's done some stuff that people she's not their mother to would think, that woman there's something wrong with her. I'd be away from her. She's my mom. She's my mom. So when she's hurt, I'm hurt. But, so I was dealing with that, then I come into the campground. Then the fireworks guy called. I wasn't supposed to do fireworks shows till next week, Wednesday and Thursday. But he called and said, there's chances of rain next week, there's things. If you need your shows, I do have one open to, now that we can get you to. So now I'm thinking, well, I've got a whole list of stuff I've got to get done before the biggest weekend of the campground. And now I've got to take a whole day and go do that. So I needed to get that stuff done, and I needed to get it done right then, but before I had to go to the fireworks show yesterday. So I started working on it. Bodie's got a job. He's got to work. He couldn't be there. Bethany works 12 hours a day and drives 2 hours back and forth to work. She couldn't be here. It was me and Miss Deb. Miss Deb runs the store by herself. When I come in, Miss Deb has done stuff all week long that she has saved stuff for me because she can't make those decisions. Me or Bodie or Bethany have to make those decisions. So when I come in, Miss Deb needs me at that point. So now I got Miss Deb need me. I got the fireworks guy need me. And I've got the whole campground need me to get this stuff done before the end of the day. I also know that on about noon to 1 o'clock on Friday, people are getting off work, or they're taking off work, and people are going to start pouring into the campground. A big part of my job too is to be a host, a good host, to make people feel welcome, to make people feel like I want them here because I do want them here. So I also know that at 12:30, I'm going to get stopped. I can't make it I was in the back one day, working in the back, and I had to use the bathroom, and I'm not kidding you. I thought, I'm going to have to start carrying a bucket with me. I got stopped a dozen times before I got to the front. Before I finally told him, I said, I'm not trying to be rude, but if I don't go to the bathroom, we're going to have a clean up on aisle 4, somebody's going to have to do something with it. And I understand that. I've accepted that a long time ago, that if I don't get everything done by noon on Friday, it probably ain't going to get done. But then that was weighing on me. Because now I've got this whole list of stuff I got to get done before noon, and Miss Deb needs me, and everything else is going on. So I panicked, and I fell apart. I don't remember where I was going with that, but as a leader, So if we work on ourselves and we communicate and we do those things, then we can close that gap to being to the 80%. As long as we understand we're not ever going to be more than 80%. We're not ever going to be more than 80%. And that 20% where we're just not going to make it, that's where we have to be understanding. That's where we have to be understanding. We have to understand that we're never going to be able to give. I'm never going to be able to give Bethany 100%. That's where a lot of people become self-conscious, because they think, well, would the next guy be able to do better for her? You know, he'd be able to give her 80% too, possibly, but it's going to be a different 80%. He's going to leave out some of the stuff that I do, and that's where people start seeing that grass is greener on the other side. They're sitting over here with their 80%. If I have my 100% is you know, a good husband, this and that, and this and that, but he's not real affectionate and he's not a great communicator. Those are the two things I'm missing out of the other 10 things. Chris is great, 8 out of 10 things, but he's not a good communicator and he's not real affectionate. So what does that do? She looks at somebody else and sees, hey, this guy's real affectionate and he's a good communicator. Now she can run to him and she'll love that because she's done without that 20% for so long. You know what I mean? And she'll say, oh, it's so great. He talks to me. He rubs my back. He talks to me when I come in. He does this. He does that. 3 weeks later, she found out he didn't pay the electric bill because he's not a good provider. You know what I mean? So now she's over here and he's rubbing her back. She's like, get off me. You won't even pay the electric bill. You know what I mean? Where now she's wanting back. Now she's wanting back over here. You see what I mean? So we get so caught up in the things that we don't have that we a lot of times tend to not appreciate the things that we do have. And if we can work together, and make that, because where I'm weak, a lot of times she's strong. My 20% of the weaknesses is part of her 80% of the strengths. Her 20% of the weaknesses are part of my 80% of the strengths. And if you work on those and you communicate those, she's got to understand that some things I'm never going to be. I'm never going to be those things. I've got to understand there's some things that she's never going to be. And I've got to learn to accept that and make it work. So the grass is always greener where you water it. The grass is greener where you put in the work. And that's got to come from both sides. That's got to come from both sides. You can't do all the work. You cannot do all the work and make it work if the other person's not going to do it. It's not going to happen. We live in a throwaway society. When something's broke, people want to throw it away. They don't want to work on it. That's marriages included. That's your family included. That's your relationships with your friends and your brothers and your moms and your dads and your whoever. That's all included. My brother right now, I love him to death. My family's crazy. I'll admit it. What does he do? He packs up and moves to Kentucky. He wants to come home for the 80% that's good and stay away from the 20% that's bad. And that's his prerogative. And I talk to him. I don't hate him for it. You know, he had a decision to make. He thought that was the best decision for his family, his wife and his kids. So the only thing I can do is work with him and talk to him when I'm around him. But we miss it. You being over there is not the problem. We can still come and see each other. It's the fence that he's put up to keep everybody away until it's holidays and things like that, you know. But you have to communicate. So we talked about the last one being lovers, learners, and loyal companions. One of the things you have to do as a loyal companion is you have to pull yourself away from flirtiness and things that will attract you. Okay? You have to withdraw and pull yourself away from those things. And another thing you have to do is you have to learn your spouse. You have to learn your wife as a husband. As a good husband, you have to learn. In Peter 3:7, it says, husbands likewise dwell with them with understanding, giving honor to the wife as the weaker vessel and as being heirs together of the grace of life. Now, again, there's a negative connotation in saying women are weaker, okay? But what we have to understand is the Bible was written in a different language, okay? It's like saying love. In the American language, there's one word for love, and that's love. But all loves are not the same. I love my wife. I love Eli. That's two completely different loves. I love Eli and I love Bodie. Those are two different completely types of loves. Those are two different completely types of love, and the type of love I love him and the type of love I love my wife is two different types of loves. In the Bible, there are at least, and there's probably more, but the ones that I could find, there are at least 6 different words for love. Agape, Ahab, Eros, Philia, Philos, and Storge. It's S-T-O-R-G-E. So I don't know how to, but those are 6 words that I found for love, and each one has a different meaning. Agape is unconditional love. It's the love that God feels for us. And I'd imagine the closest thing that we have to that is the type of love that we have for our kids. And I said it before, I think that's why God gives us that relationship, is so that we can feel a percentage of what he feels for us. It's hard for me to understand that God loves me more than I love her, or him, or Charlie. But it's also hard for me to understand that God is so much more powerful than me. And God is so much more, he knows so much more than me. He can do so much more than me. You know what I mean? But I think that relationship that you have, Bodie, your relationship with Spencer, as much as you love that little boy, God loves you tenfold more, you know. But there are 6 different words for the word love. And just like the weakness here, we're talking about weakness. It says again, let me find this spot here. Husbands likewise dwell with them, talking about the wives, with understanding, giving honor to the wife as the weaker vessel. Now, weaker, again, that is the way it was translated, but that is not what it means. The word weaker is lost in translation. Weaker is not less than. It means more of the way you handle highly valued materials. So the word that's translated in English is weaker, but the true meaning of that is you don't treat fine china like you do paper plates because there's value in fine china, right? Now, if I was going to say, what's the difference in paper plates and china? You drop a paper plate, it's going to break and shatter. You drop a paper plate, it's going to drop. You drop a fine china, it's going to shatter. This, I just lost 10 cents. This, I lost $34 on one plate. You see what I mean? There's a value there. And in that translation, that's what it means. That's what it means. It does not mean that women are weaker than us. It doesn't. Physically, maybe. Emotionally, women are way more emotionally inept than men are. They just are. That goes back to the 80-20 thing. Right? Men and women are different. And that is not what popular belief is today, right? Today, our society wants to believe that if you feel like a man, you're a man. If you feel like a woman, you're a woman. And that's just not the truth. We are physically different, and then we are mentally and emotionally wired different. Men struggle with understanding women because we are wired different. Men work off of mostly logic. And that sounds awesome to me because I'm a man. I'm like, yeah, logic. If it don't make sense, don't do it. Right? Where a woman is more instinctual. They rely on their instincts. And that's not just in the human race. You look at animals. Have you ever seen the videos of somebody coming up to a cub and the mother bear coming out? Oh my gosh. You know? And that's her instinct. The logic for a guy, now we have the love and stuff too, but logically, if little cub runs out to a guy with a gun, logic for the dad, he's gonna say, whoa, that guy's got a gun. Son, come back over here. You know what I mean? Instinct for the mother is like, I don't care if you got 3 guns, you better back up off my baby. You know what I mean? So you need both. Where men struggle is we are wired to be logical and women are wired to be instinctual. Women rely more on their emotions because their emotions give them a sense of danger. You know, they give them a sense something's wrong. Like with your kids, you know, that's your emotion. Dad would be like, hey, them boys been doing this a long time. The likelihood of them being out there and being in trouble, yeah, they got a little wet in the storm, but the likelihood is, they're out there, they're fine, they're a little wet, they'll probably want to come home and shower and make a sandwich and be good. But to mom, it's, I gotta get out there and protect my baby, right? So that's the difference between men and women. And that's a reason why there's a rift there. But the best remedy to that is understanding. If we can understand that, we can work through it. Here's some general examples of the difference between men and women. Women love processes. They love the processes. Men love goals. If we started a garden, the woman would love to get out there and till the soil. They want to understand, that the fermentation of the seed and the this and the that, and they want to see it grow, because then they're like, hey, I did that, and then they want to protect it, and they want to pull the weeds, and they want it to be the best process all the way up to the end. A man's like, poke a seed in the ground, I want to come back when there's tomatoes. You know what I mean? When I got tomatoes, I'm like, look at these tomatoes. You know what I mean? We're not worried about the tilling up dirt and doing all those things. It's just how we're wired. Women love romance. They love the build up. All the kids plug your ears. Men love sex. Right? They just do. They want the very end. They want the goal. We're ready to get to it, You guys want to watch a movie and talk and be romantic and talk about how pretty your hair is and these things, right? That's important to you. And as long as we understand that, it helps us. When we stop trying to understand that, and we want our wives to be like our best friends, you know what I mean? Then it causes a problem. Women, when processing an issue, they need sensitivity. They need somebody to be there. They need that sensitivity. Men, when we're processing an issue, we need space. I need to get away. The other day when I had my breakdown, I was on the front porch and I was like, oh my gosh. I started seeing spots. I started feeling pain in my arm. So I was like, okay, I'm going to walk around here to the laundry room. So I walked around. I went back to the laundry room and I kneeled against the rail and I thought, I'm just going to calm down a minute. I was even here in like tunnel vision. I could hear stuff, but I couldn't tell how close it was. It scared me. And when I turned and looked, Miss Debbie was sitting there like the teacher in Charlie Brown. I didn't know what she was saying. And then I looked behind her and there was 4 other people behind her beating me. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't even have a heart attack in peace, So I get up and all I wanted was space. Miss Debbie is wired. She could tell that I was hurting. She could tell that I was not right. She wanted to be there for me because she loved me. You know what I mean? And all I wanted to be was away. I wanted to be alone, So I got up and I mumbled something. I don't know exactly what came out because everything was distorted. And I said, I just got to have a little space. So I went into the bathroom. I shut the door and I locked it and I turned the lights off. And I sat in there for an hour. Because I had to go through my thought processes to understand, okay, Chris, how logical is this that you're having this panic attack over stuff that may not be done? You know what I mean? Yes, there's got to be mulch on the park. Yes, there's got to be electric in that empty spot back there. Yes, there's got to be this. Yes, there's got to be that. But is it so important that you're going to let it kill you over stress? You know what I mean? And no, it's not. So then I start thinking of ways. Okay, so what can I do to make this better? Okay, the mulch place closes at 2 o'clock. It's already 1 o'clock, so I've been sitting here for an hour. So how am I going to do that? I need to find somebody that will take my truck and go up there and get it. Well, I go back here and fix the electric, so that way I know I have the parts and I do, So I started figuring it out. So when I came out after that hour of being in there, I came out and I was relieved because now I have a plan to make that work. Miss Debbie is still in this other stage, right? She's like, come here, you need me? I need to give you a hug. Are you okay? Or we going to be able to make it? I done got somebody up here. I got Josh down here. He's going to go get the, I was like, whoa, Miss Debbie, don't mess up my plan. I've already got it in plan. Don't mess it up. Just let me do it. And I'll get it taken care of. But that's how men and women are wired different when they come to dealing with problems. When stressed, women are emotionally overwhelmed and involved. Men are withdrawn and focused. And that goes back to the same story. A woman, it's just the way we're wired. Nothing wrong with either side. Nothing right about either side. But it's the way we're wired. It's the way we handle it. Women feel better when they talk about their problems and communicating, while men, we just want to solve it. Now, we don't really want to talk about it. Let's just get it done, right? Just like when I was talking about my mom in prayer this morning. I caught myself saying it as I was saying it. I said, it's embarrassing. I don't like to talk about it. You see what I mean? There's nothing embarrassing about that. There's sickness. Would I be embarrassed if my mom had COVID? No. You know what I mean? But in my mind, I don't want to talk about it. For one, because I don't want to be a burden on the people that I care about. Two, I don't want to be embarrassed about it. Three, I don't want people using it against me. You know what I mean? And that's all going back to the logic mindset that I have. You know what I mean? As a man. Does it make any sense? No. But to me, it's logic. You know.
I'm going to say that a little louder.
yeah. And I got to understand it. And that's what I tell Bethany. And you know, just the other day, she said something to me that made me realize she's working. She said, babe, I don't mean to complain at you. I just got to realize that you're venting. Which means she took the time to try to figure it out to make us better. That made me feel, those words right there made me feel good the rest of the day. I just got to realize you're venting, and I'm here for you to do that. You know what I mean? I can't take any of that to heart. I just need to hear it, tell you it's going to be okay, and then you can go on. Because you don't mean a lot of things you say. When I say, oh, we just got to get rid of the campground, I can't do it anymore. You know what I mean? I can't do it anymore. Somebody else is going to have to do it. We're going to sell it to somebody and just let it go, because I can't do it anymore. She knows I don't mean that. She knows in 15 minutes I'm going to be like, okay, I got a plan. You know what I mean? But when we first got together, she didn't know that. She'd be like, oh, shut up, stupid. You're not going to sell it. You know, you're not going to sell it. Just if that's all you got to say, just keep your mouth shut. Well, now I'm holding it in when I just need to vent, you know. So those few sentences didn't mean a lot to anybody else, but to me it meant growth in our relationship. You know what I mean? And it meant that she cared enough to let me be stupid for a minute, so that way I could vent and get over to where I could get to problem solving. And again, guys, we have our problems. We still have our problems. We're going to have our problems till the day they put one of us in the ground and we're missing each other so bad that all we want is each other back, you know. But as long as we continue to work on those problems, the most valuable thing you can have in a relationship is somebody that will never give up on you, you know. And that's part of being a leader. That's part of being the servant. If I'm a servant to her and I never give up on her, and she's a servant to me and never gives up on me, then that leadership makes a full loop. The Bible does not instruct women to dwell with their husbands with understanding. It's our job to strive to learn them. Just like I said earlier, it says, husbands, likewise dwell with them in understanding and give them honor to your wife. It does not say for the wife to do that. It says for the husband to do that. Right? That's our jobs. It's our job to strive to learn them. And how do we do that? We make them feel loved. Now, this next part I'm going to say, I don't know if I mean it in whole, but we should give them gifts. We should take them on dates, send them flowers. Now, does that mean every day? No. But if I can spend $30 and send Bethany flowers at work when she absolutely does not expect it, and it makes the rest of her day better, I'll spend that at McDonald's and chicken nuggets that are probably going to give me cancer. You know what I mean? So why not do it? Why not send her some flowers? Why not send her a teddy bear? Because when she comes home, the longest drive she's going to have that day is the one to get home to tell me how much she appreciates it, and for me to be able to see her smile because it made her feel special in front of the people that she works with, right? If I take her on a date, even if she loves concerts, I absolutely hate concerts. How many concerts have we been to since we've been together? 2. I win, you know. But do I really win? Do I really win? I'm now taking something away from her that she cares about, just because I despise it. You know what I mean? But I'm not going for the music anyway. Matter of fact, I can put headbuds in and listen to whatever the heck I want to. If I can watch her dance around and wear her concert shirt and be happy and take snap pictures and send them to her friends and all that, and she's 100% happy, then I should be happy too. You know what I mean? What's the alternative? I could be at home sitting on the couch watching TV and save $75. You know what I mean, on a ticket. It's not worth it. You know. So it's our job as men to give them gifts when we can, to take them on dates and to send them flowers and to make them feel loved, because that's how they're wired. That's what they need, and it's our job to understand that. And that's what part of this message is to help us understand our roles with the women. We need to spend time with her, and not only spend time, but listen. I don't know how many times, well, it's a bunch. Bethany comes home from work, and she's like, the bottom number was over the top number, and the stats dropped to the this and the that, and the little old lady, she's just so sweet, and I heard the little old lady sweet, because that's something that I resonate with. You know what I mean? Is that bad? Bottom number dropped to top, and then the Hippocratic dispatch from the, you know, I have no idea what you're talking about. So, did she die? Because that's what, she's still here? You know, I don't know. She's like, yeah, she's still here. Just means she had a stroke. I was like, why did you just say that? You know what I mean? But she comes in and she talks all this stuff, and I should at least listen, because if I start listening, I may not understand it now, but she's going to be a nurse for the rest of her life. I'll start to understand it. So I have to push pause on the TV. And she even started getting on to me for that, because she thought I had an attitude when I paused the TV. I'd pause the TV to listen to her. Oh, just forget it. You're going to have an attitude about it. And she'd walk off. You know what I mean? What? I paused the TV so I could actually listen and understand, not just be like, yeah, that's bad. Mm-hmm. I mean, good. Yeah, you know, whatever. So I do that to try to listen now, to try to understand. So we need to spend time with them and actually listen. Even if it's not important to us, we need to listen. And that goes for the women too. You know, if you guys are with your husband and he's talking about something that's important to him, listen to it. Listen to it. Try to understand it. You got it. But I don't want to get too caught up in that. I'm not even going to talk about what women should. This is for what a man should do for his wife. Okay. You got to give her physical intimacy without the goal of the S word, right? We have to. We need to do that. Back rubs, hugs, kisses on the forehead. For a long time, I wouldn't leave the house without kissing every one of my kids and Bethany on the forehead. I just wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? I didn't care that they didn't wake up. I didn't care that they didn't know it. It was just as much for me as it was for them. And every once in a while, one of them would wake up in the middle of me doing it, and I loved that. I hate that I woke them up, but I loved that they woke up and they knew that I was doing it. You know what I mean? Because it made them feel like I love them. Because I do, you know. But we have to start doing small things like that for them. You got to compliment her and let her know that you love her. You got to let her know that you love her. You got to let her know that you love her. There's a big difference in feeling loved and being loved. A big difference. You can love somebody with all your heart and still ruin a relationship. If you do not make them feel loved, they're not going to know it. Making them feel loved is another part of communication. If I have it and I never show you, then it don't matter. You have to make each other feel loved. You have to make her feel loved. So to wrap all this up, we all have positions in life where we are leaders. And Jesus said it best, to be a good leader, you have to be a good servant. And Jesus exemplified that through his whole life. He washed people's feet. He labored. He was a carpenter, right? But we have to be good servants. We have to be a good leader. And then one of the most important roles as a father, as a man, as a husband, is to be those leaders. And I'm just going to run through these one more time. You have to be a priest of your home. You have to be a protector to your family and the people around you. You have to be a good laborer. You have to be a lover, a learner, and a loyal companion. And if you can do all those things, you'll be a good husband and father. Now, to the women out here, the only thing that I can think is to go back to the communication thing. I honestly expected that since this was a message God sent me in here with today, that I was going to have a room full of men. And that was not the case. So the only thing that I can think is for us to open up those lines of communication. For us to understand these things better will make our relationships better. And it don't just have to be with, there's portions and parts of this that you can create a better relationship with your sons, your daughters, your aunts, your uncles, your neighbors, whoever, right? So we have to take this, every part of this, and adapt it to our lives and make our relationships with the people we care about better. To be leaders. Because leadership is not something that's exclusive to being a man. No matter what the news wants you to believe, when you hear leader, we're talking about old white men again, right? That's not the case. That's not the case. Some of the best leaders in the world are women. Some of the best leaders in the world are women. In their different positions, right? So, if you don't mind, Josh, we'll come up. We'll close in a couple songs, and we'll close with prayer, and then we'll get out of here. I know this has run a little long, and I'm sorry, but we'll get out of here. Josh, if you want to, just play a song, and we'll pray, and we'll close it up. If you will, stand for this last song, please.
Last song I want to do is called He is Glorious. It's a new day. Time, new season to lift His name on high. Let's praise Him. Let's shout His name. Come fill this place with Your love and grace. He is glorious, mighty and beautiful, glorious, King of the universe, glorious, worthy of our praise. Holy is His name, glorious. He's a God of miracles, glorious. He's a God of faithfulness, glorious. He's a God of unfailing love. He can heal our brokenness. With each breath I breathe, to You I will sing words of an offering. Through You I do anything. God's plan is greater. All I have I give You. You take my biggest dreams and make them bigger. He is glorious, mighty and beautiful, glorious, King of the universe, glorious, worthy of our praise. Holy is His name, glorious. He's a God of miracles, glorious. He's a God of faithfulness,
leader. He had his daughter get hurt yesterday. He wouldn't even camp this weekend. He packed up everything he had, drove an hour and 15 minutes over here to play a few songs for us to play his role as a worship leader. So just another example of what it means to be a good leader. So let's give him a hand again because he's been amazing. We're super, super, super proud of him. Then